With The Last of Us Season 2 trailer dropping recently, I thought it would be a good time to settle the debate that surrounded the show and the video game when it came out. And that is the debate over whether Joel's choices at the end were right. If you haven't seen the show or played the game, let me briefly explain the story. Full spoilers for The Last of Us and The Last of Us Season 1. The Last of Us is a video game about a zombie apocalypse that was spread by a fungal infection that was present in ants. The infection eventually spread to humans, causing them to lose their minds and attack other humans. The game is about Joel, a man who lost his daughter at the beginning of the outbreak, and Ellie, a young girl who is somehow immune to the fungal infection that creates these zombies. Joel is tasked with taking Ellie across the country to meet up with a group called the Fireflies, who believe that with the help of Ellie, they can create a cure to the zombie outbreak. Throughout their trek across the country, Joel and Ellie come across many dangers and overcome each one. And as they fight to get to the Fireflies, they eventually grow closer and closer until finally viewing one another as father and daughter. Once Joel and Ellie get to the Fireflies, Ellie is taken to the doctors and scientists who are going to develop the cure. However, Joel finds out that in order to develop this cure, they would have to remove Ellie's brain, killing her, which Ellie did not know. So, Joel decides to rescue Ellie instead of letting her be sacrificed for the cure. He goes through the hospital, killing everyone standing in his way, and eventually finds Ellie laying on an operating table, passed out, about to go into surgery. He then takes Ellie while she's sleeping and starts to drive to a safe encampment where his brother lives. So, did Joel do the right thing? On one hand, he protected a little girl that he views as his daughter. On the other hand, he killed a lot of people, which will inevitably cause millions of more people to die from the zombie fungal infection. So, what was the right choice? To help determine that, let's take a look at what's called the trolley problem. You've probably heard of it. It goes something like this. You're near a train track, and you see a train coming to a fork in the rails. On one side of the rails, there's 5 people tied up, and the train is heading right towards them. On the other side of the track, there's 1 person tied up, who right now is safe. The dilemma is, you have access to a switch that can change the track to head towards the 1 person instead of the 5. Most people agree that the right decision would be to let the train hit the 1 person. However tragic that may be, it is still less tragic than 5 people dying for no reason. But what if you make it a little more complicated? What if, instead of a switch, the only way to save those 5 people is by throwing a nearby overweight person in front of the train, which would then stop the train from hitting the 5 people? The same result happens, right? Only 1 person dies instead of 5. But that one feels a bit more wrong. Why is that? Because 1, that overweight person did not volunteer to save those people with his own life. You are intentionally murdering an innocent person in order to save 5 people. Whereas before, you were just making a moral calculation. 1 versus 5. So, how does this relate to Joel and his decision to save Ellie, instead of letting Ellie sacrifice herself in order to potentially save the entire world? The answer is pretty clear. Joel did nothing wrong. Those doctors and scientists had no right to kill a little girl without her knowledge in order to try to save humanity. In the same way that you have no right to push an overweight person in front of a trolley in order to save 5 people. Even if Ellie had consented to sacrificing herself, that wouldn't matter either. Ellie is 13 or 14 in the game. Joel is an adult who has grown to be like a father in her life. Joel gets to make that decision, and as any good parent would do, he protected his child. I don't even have kids, but I do have nieces and nephews, and if any of them were going to be sacrificed in order to save the world, I would do absolutely every single thing I could to keep that from happening. You don't get to kill my family, no matter how many people you think it's going to save. So yes, Joel did exactly what a father should do. He did exactly what anybody should do, protecting the young, powerless, and innocent. Yes, it would be great if Joel and Ellie could have ended the zombie apocalypse, but not at the expense of Ellie. And yes, she is just 1 little girl in comparison to millions of people. But she's Joel's little girl, and that is why protecting her at all costs was not only not wrong, it was completely the right decision. Please subscribe to my channel and let me know your thoughts on whether Joel did the right thing in the comments below. Also, if you'd like me to make a similar video over the moral dilemma in The Last of Us 2, let me know in the comments below. Have a good day.